Hey everybody, Erica here from In the Company of Cards. Welcome. If you're new, welcome back. If you've been here a while, um, great to be with you all on this Wednesday. And I have a bunch of things to look at all over the place. So no particular rhyme or reason, just things that either I've found interesting or questions that have been fielded to me by viewers. Speaking of viewers, I had a viewer who uh, objected to my calling out, I guess you could call it, of Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska. She admitted in a meeting with constituents that she was afraid. Now, she did go on and say, but I'm going to do what you sent me here to do because that's why you sent me here to do it. Well, we've not seen really evidence of that to date. And, courage is not the absence of fear, it's doing what you need to do despite the fear. So, anyway, this viewer stepped to me and said that I lacked emotional intelligence and should refrain from criticizing Lisa Murkowski. So either she is in the pay of Lisa Murkowski or she's her, I don't know, granddaughter or something. At any rate, bibbity bobbity boo, she's gone. The teacher in me, of course, itched to say, this is not what we do here. We don't police the host's speech. But I controlled myself and I held back my teacherly tendency and I just relegated them to the great howling void. So this viewer can still see what I do, can hear what I say, can even comment on what I say, but none of us will see what that person has to say. So good on you for your defense of Lisa Murkowski. You know, go in peace, but you're not coming here. All right. Anyway, I had two viewers who asked me questions that I am not going to answer, but I am going to address the questions. One was about Stephen Miller. He's that dead-eyed looking um, sycophant of 47 who is the author of all of this immigration policy stuff. He was in charge of family separation at the border, the last administration that we suffered under. And lots of people speculate about him. He looks like the reincarnation of Goebbels, the Nazi. Entertainment purposes only, and we can't help what we look like, right? So, um, but the question from the viewer was, did my cards see that he would get his comeuppance? And I'm not going to look at that. I have my own theories about him. I think that he um, has been a not good guy for more than this lifetime, and we all have lessons to learn, and we have choices in whether we learn those lessons. And I think that his comeuppance, I don't know whether it's going to come in this life or in the life to come. And I don't care. I'm going to worry about my comeuppance and my conduct. I'm not worrying about him. Another viewer asked me about Nancy Mace. She is the representative from South Carolina, not the nicest person. And this viewer asked me to look at why she's so angry. And I'm not going to do that either. I don't know why she's angry. Maybe she had an unhappy childhood. I don't know. Maybe she's in a bad relationship. I don't know. Maybe she's just sort of genetically an angry person. But I feel like my gifts are mm, so, I'm so grateful for the gifts that I'm given in terms of the way that I teach and the way that I divine with these cards, that I am, believe it or not, selective about what I will and won't look at. And I just think that it does not serve the public good or the public interest for me to spend time on those two people. We know who they are. Um, their God knows who they are. And I'm gonna suggest that we do what uh, King Hamlet told Prince Hamlet when Prince Hamlet found out that his mom was having an affair with his uncle, and the ghost of Hamlet's father, who was also called Hamlet, King Hamlet, said to his son Prince Hamlet when he wanted to take his mother to task. The ghost father of Prince Hamlet said, "Leave her to heaven." And I suggest that we leave Nancy Mace and Stephen Miller to heaven or to hell, to whatever their great reward is, but it's none of our business. All right. So that's those questions. And then there's a bunch of questions. So I think we'll move around the country and the world and deal with these four or so issues. So one, let's stick with the let's go overseas to Ukraine. So today, I think today's the 23rd. Yeah, the 23rd is the deadline that 47 has given Ukraine to accept or not his final offer. So that's what he's calling it, his final offer. His final offer in this peace deal that's, well, alleged peace deal that he thinks he's brokering between Russia and Ukraine calls for, and I mean, these are just the lowlights of what Ukraine is expected to give up. They are expected to hand over their mineral resources to us for all of our trouble, whatever. So they're supposed to hand over their mineral resources, and they're supposed to give up their quest to join NATO. And then third, they're supposed to cede territory, which means give up, CEDE, give up territory to Russia. The territory of theirs that Russia has already claimed, they're meant to give up their own claim to that land. So Zelensky has told 47 that that is a non-starter. And so 47 has given today as the deadline for that final answer. Remember that 47 said that he was going to broker peace between Russia and Ukraine within, the first part of his presidency. That has not happened, nor will it, I don't think. So I guess what I want to look at is what will happen to Ukraine moving forward. Uh, they will have no help from the U.S., obviously, because 47 has a different policy towards them from the Biden administration. On the other hand, Russia is hurting, hurting, losing men and losing treasure, lives and treasure. On the other hand, they have a good friend in 47, entertainment purposes only. So, what will happen with Ukraine? I'm trying to decide what I want to use for Ukraine, but you know what? I think I'll let Spirit pick all the cards. Uh, so, the final answer has been given. The final answer to 47's proposal has been no thank you from Zelensky. And so what will be Ukraine's fate? Gonna pull 5 cards. Okay, so we have the dog, coffin. We have the tower. We have the young woman, and we have the cross. It's not good. So our allyship with Ukraine ends. Of course, Europe will take up the slack to the extent that they are able, because of course, Ukraine is on um, Europe's doorstep, and as goes Ukraine, so goes Europe. Uh, that at least is Putin's intention. But our allyship with Ukraine will end. The tower in the middle is, the fact that they are on an island, they are alone, um, which makes them weaker and will cause them great pain. Um, this is one of the trade-offs that we get for this country having elected who they elected. I keep saying that there is pain and there will be pain. Americans will feel pain. Europe will feel pain. Ukraine will feel pain. I mean, we didn't need cards to see that, but it's not good. So we need to pray for Ukraine, um, help them as we are able individually through our words and our funds and all of that. But the wages of sin. This is the wages of sin. Sin in electing a felon who is co-opted by Russia as our president. Entertainment purposes only. Um, let's look though at Putin's trajectory. Putin the man's trajectory. So we're going to use the older man. This time it's going to stand for Putin. And I just want to know what is in the wings for him. Okay. So we know Ukraine will suffer, but what of Putin? Looking for the older man. Okay. So here he is, Putin. And I'm going to pull some clarifiers on the last 3 cards, and then I'll talk about all of them. All right. Well, so the original 5 cards are the mice, the garden, there's Putin, there's the key, and there's the tower. So the first thing to say is that certainly, at least in the short term, he will continue to be afraid of his own people. Because, as he should be. So he's afraid of his own people. There he is in the center. And he believes that, the answer is to keep himself isolated, keep his circle very, very close. He feels, I'm going to say, besieged, um, as though he is a tower surrounded by a moat. And that's because he's so fearful of his people. But I will say that I like the fact that his people are mirrored by the key. The people hold the key to his future. And I don't think that that bodes well for him any more than it does for our pseudo wannabe would be Orange God King. The people are going to be the deciders about that. Okay. So then I pulled clarifiers for him, for Putin, and we have the heart, the book, and the child. He doesn't look too well either. He may have heart issues that he's not necessarily aware of, that will diminish him in time. So there's that. The key, when I went horizontally, I could mirror it with the garden. The people are the ones who are going to ultimately decide his fate. But when I looked at it next to the towers, he thinks that the answer is to keep himself isolated and with a very tight circle. But now I'm going vertically with the key, which means that the meaning of the card is going to change because I'm reading it with other cards. So the clarifiers for the key are the ship, the scythe, and the crossroads. I like this for him. What's going to happen to him is that here he is sailing along, stealing Ukraine and, trying to steal the US and all of that. And he get his anchor, his sails, all of that get cut. This can be a card for violence against him, that will move him off his path, crossroads. And then we have this tower here, and we have the whip, the mountain, and the house. So, again, he becomes more and more isolated, staying close to home, because he's afraid. I mean, there was just recently that assassination attempt. Remember where that car blew up that he was meant to have been in? This is the card for dissension and arguing, and he feels really besieged and he feels stuck. Uh, Even at home, in wherever he lives, his dacha, the Kremlin, where I don't know, wherever he rests his head, it is not a restful place because I can mirror it with this card mice, which means that he's afraid. When he puts his head on the pillow, he's afraid. When he sits at his table to eat, he's afraid of being poisoned. He doesn't know whom he can trust and whom he can't. So, good, good. Uh, Good. All right. Let's see. Oh, let's come back to the States for a minute, shall we? So apparently, 47, and this is a Project 2025 thing. So, 47 may be the mouthpiece for it, but this is pure Project 2025, have floated the idea of giving every American woman $5,000 for each baby that she has. And if you are lucky enough to be the mother of six or more children, you'll get, you ready? A medal to wear on your lapel. I'm just going to say, this feels very Germany to me, very sort of almost Lebensraum. And you might not know what Lebensraum is, but Lebensraum was a program that the Nazis developed whereby young, fertile, nubile, Aryan girls were impregnated by Nazi soldiers, and then they were housed and fed and clothed and entertained and exercised and cared for during the 9 months of their pregnancy. They were considered sort of, you know, um, very patriotic heroines who were doing their part for Hitler, the Reich, and then they would have their babies, and their babies would be taken from them and raised as little, Nazis. Lebensraum was the program. Now, with this $5,000 per American woman, here's what I think. I mean, all right, first of all, I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. But anyway, there is a past precedent for it in history. And we know that 47 loves Mein Kampf, which is, of course, Hitler's playbook, keeps it by his bedside. According to Ivana, the woman buried on the uh, edge of the golf course. Anyway, uh, I want to know, is this for all American women? Or is it going to be like it was in the Lebensraum program, where only bona fide, certified, classified, identified Aryan girls were eligible for this program? Now, the reason that I wonder is it said all American women. And it could be all American women because, of course, if it includes women of color, well, then you have a built-in drone um, citizen population that you have created, an underclass to do your work, right? To pick your crops and work in your factories and things like that. Um, but I would think that they would want to be careful about getting too much of a critical mass of people of color, multiplying like that. So I suspect that this plan will be refined, we'll call it, and that the people who get the $5,000 bonus would be, I don't know, the white women who agree to be impregnated by and marry because they want you to be married, the incel population. Incel standing for involuntarily celibate population, this population of young white males who feel disenfranchised because they can't get a date. So wouldn't this just suit everybody all the way around, right? The incels get women to fornicate with, and the women, I mean, if they do it 6 times, get a lapel pin. Okay. Oh, and $5,000. So I'm going to say, I want to ask the question. I mean, it feels very much like a Stephen Miller thought up plan because, if he was indeed a Nazi in a previous life, he's either that or he's just been a student of Nazism since he could read, entertainment purposes only. I just want to know what this plan is all about. So I think what I'm going to do is use the stork because the stork, one of the meanings, as you can imagine, is pregnancy. So what's this plan all about? What is the real intention behind it? There's no talk, by the way, of any kind of social welfare programs for these mothers once they've given birth. So, yeah, how's that going to work out? Anyway, let's just see how this will work. I'm going to look for the stork. You wake up every day and it's like just one more crazy thing, and you say, it can't possibly get any crazier. And then it does. Okay, so let's look for the stork. Here we go. So here's our stork. Okay, so we have the fox, we have the whip, we have the stork in the middle, we have the house, and we have the snake. First first observation that I want to make, and I will pull some clarifiers, is the fact that the line is flanked by, on the one end, the fox, and on the other end, the snake. So a word about these two animals. The fox. Sometimes I really like the fox. The fox is the card for the expert, the card for the scientist, um, the card for the foreigner, the stranger. Uh, but, we all know sort of in terms of just lore about foxes, right? What's the lore? What's the adjective? You think of clever, you think of sneaky. So this is a ruse, a la Lebensraum, I think. It's just, look here, we're going to dangle $5,000 in front of you. No proposal about anything else in terms of the health and welfare and safety and happiness of this child that you're going to bring in to the world, or these six that you're meant to bring in if you want the lapel pin. Um, it's flanked, I can mirror it because this is the first card, this is the last card with the snake. These motivations there are ulterior motives here that are ugly, not good. Now, on the part of the Project 2025 people, again, I think it would be twofold. One, um, lots more white babies so that they can, um, enlist their army of white Nazi-like clones. And if you're going to include people of color in the program for a $5,000, they probably wouldn't get the lapel pin, but anyway, for $5,000, then you have a built-in workforce, a lesser form of slave labor, basically. And again, no plan to how to educate, house, feed, nurture these babies once they get here. It's just, we just want more people. Uh, this will be talked up by the White House. I mean, they're going to talk it up. They're going to try to, sort of, think about how a whip is. A whip is repetitive, so they're going to say it again and again and again and again. Don't you want to be patriotic? Don't you want to help the nation grow? Don't you want to outnumber the hordes of coloreds who are, their numbers are growing. We don't even have to give them $5,000. Uh, you know, whip. So, in terms of being patriotic, in terms of being religious, that Christo nationalist idea about having tons of kids, lots of quivers in your bow or bows in your quiver, or whatever the arrows in your, I don't even know what's a quiver. I don't know. Um, But some of those Christo nationalist religious sects, sects, believe in having lots of sex to procreate. So this will be pushed by the White House. But again, the rationale is um, negative, not good, evil, even. So let's pull some clarifiers and see what we get. And I'll pull my three-card postscript as well. Okay. So our fox is the first card. Again, this is sneaky. It's insidious. And there are people who will be susceptible. Ooh, $5,000 in the lapel set pin? Sign me up. Uh, Clarifiers, mice, scales, and book. It stems exactly from what I said it stemmed from. Uh, Project 2025 and the administration, et cetera, are afraid of a tipping of the balance of power. Um, White people are quickly going to become the minority, even with deportations. So this balance, they don't know what to do about it. So this is what they've come up with. White women have more babies. We'll give you $5,000 in lapel pin in order to address this, what they see as an imbalance. Okay. So it's going to be repeated, repeated, repeated. The messenger will be 47, who said, if you recall, he is going to help women, whether they like it or not. So here's Daddy, and here's all of the girls that he's going to help. He will be the messenger for this program. I'm going to call it Lebensraum 2.0. Okay, so here's the program, right? Get pregnant and get $5,000, etc. But the clarifiers are the mountain, the scythe, and the coffin. This plan is going nowhere. Like as I like to say, quick, fast, and in a hurry. It will be blocked, it will be chopped, it'll be dead. It's not going anywhere. Lebensraum 2.0, I mean, okay. Fourth card is the house. We have the tower, the dog, and the letter. From the White House, and with the White House pushing all of this, you know, saying it's a government thing, there will be people who find it appealing. Um, you know, we will always have such types among us, and they'll say, "Yeah, give me the $5,000. I really want the lapel pin too." So there will be some people, but it's not going to happen on the mass scale that they think it is. And then we have this snake card. This whole thing is problematic for reasons that I hope I don't have to elaborate on. And we have clover, clouds, and shit. It will be quickly seen to be as problematic as it is. And there will be all kinds of people saying, wait, what? And then it will sort of go by the boards. It won't proceed. It will sail away. I drew my three-card postscript. So is there any other last word I can say about this? We have fish, we have cross, and we have birds. So, he would like to have, or Project 2025 would like to have more fish in the sea. But that requires a sacrifice that people will gather in groups and say, no, we're not doing this. First, you took row, and now you're going to reward people for getting pregnant. And if they have six, they get a medal. I mean, I'll tell you what, I think that this will backfire in a big way. And I encourage you, I told everybody to go watch the movie Conclave. If you've not watched it, you should watch it. It's really good, particularly in light of the conclave coming up after the death of Pope Francis. I would also suggest that you read, and I have to wait a minute, let me get the author right, because I know the title and I know what it's about, but I might get the title wrong. I mean, the author. Um, yeah, Aristophanes. There is an ancient Greek playwright named Aristophanes, and I'll put it in the show notes. And there's a play he wrote called Lysistrata. Lysistrata. I'm not going to say any more than that about this. This will be your homework, right? How about that? A little homework to distract us from all the woes of the world. I would like you to get a copy of Aristophanes's Lysistrata. It is not long. You can read it in an evening. And my theory is that instead of Lebensraum, what women will do will have a Lysistrata effect. So, as you figure out what that is, or if you'd like to leave it in the comments, I'm sure people will appreciate that as the cliff notes. Um, but I think that it will backfire in a Lysistrata kind of a way. Again, that's the play Lysistrata by Aristophanes, and I will put it in the show notes. Read it, and then you'll see what I mean. All right. Um, A viewer asked me this question, and it's now we're going overseas again, and this will be the last question for today. Um, Had a long day. I did an interview today or a Sunday conversation, which I put in the can and will be airing on Sunday, and I hope you'll love it. This guest is one of my favorite people. You've not met them before, but I think you will come to love them as much as I do. I hope. So I did that this morning, but I didn't want the day to pass without coming on here with you all today. Um, so here's the last question. This was a viewer question. All right. So the question was, they asked my opinion of a certain situation, and I mean, I don't have an opinion per se, but I did do the research, and we can certainly ask the cards what Spirit's opinion is. And this is about General Michael Langley. Now, General Michael Langley, sorry, is a Marine, and he is the head of he's the sixth commander of the U.S. Africa Command. So, he's kind of the American military um, representative boss in Africa. And he has uh, he has had some things to say that are pretty controversial. At least a lot of Black people are finding them controversial for reasons which I actually understand. So he had something to say about the president of Burkina Faso, which is a country, I think in West Africa. And this president is named Ibrahim Traore. And Ibrahim Traore has decided that he has seized his military, his country's, he seized his country's ore, gold, and says that he wants to build up Burkina Faso. And so, I mean, on the face of it, what's wrong with that? Michael Langley objects to this and says that he's stealing this gold for his own use. There is no real evidence that he's stealing it for his own use. And sometimes, think how it is. Sometimes when words can sound like they make sense, but you always have to remember, well, who is the speaker of these words? Because that can change whether they make sense or not. And so, what a lot of certainly Africans and as well Black Americans are saying is, um, speaking of foxes, is this not a fox guarding the hen house? I mean, America has its own colonial past, uh, as much as, I don't know, England or Spain or Portugal do. And so, is he really coming from a place of being concerned, Michael Langley, General Langley, about the people of Burkina Faso? Or is he concerned that this mineral wealth will not find its way into um, colonial, we'll call it, ruler hands, like American hands, like multinational corporation hands, right? I mean, it sounds like a good statement. Oh, you don't want any leader to steal a country's gold. But is he stealing a country's gold? Because other people say he's got a really solid plan in place, he being Ibrahim Traore, to uplift Burkina Faso and really build its infrastructure and build it up into a really thriving nation. So I guess let's see. By the way, General Langley is Black, so there's that. I think, what do I want to use? I have to look at all my cards and say, what do I want to use as the significator? Well, no, you know what? We'll use the key as the central card. And what I want to know, I'm really going to shuffle. I'll show you how I shuffle. It's just like this. What I want to know is, what is the reason? What is the real reason that Ibrahim Traore has uh, taken his country's gold and said, this is not up for anybody else to seize. We are going to use this for the welfare of the country. Is that really what the deal is? So I want to know the answer, which is why I'm going to use the key. What is the answer to what's going on in Burkina Faso? Faso. Um, is Michael Langley correct in um, calling out Ibrahim Traore, or is he being too clever by half? Because ultimately America wants that gold. Wouldn't be the first time. All right, so we're going to look for the key so we can get the answer. And it's a gold key, so think of it as the gold. Okay, so this is the gold of Burkina Faso. And we are looking at the intention of Ibrahim Traore and of General Michael Langley. Okay, and because this has gotten a little long, I'm just going to keep it at a 5 card. We have the heart, the star, the key, the lily, and the man. I'm going to say that, gotta say, I think I'm on Ibrahim Traore's side here. For the love of his country, for the future of his country, he has decided to keep this gold in the country to avoid any kind of, it's a mature decision. It's a measured decision, but it's also a bold decision. And this is very much, I feel like, an anti-colonialist card. You know, this is sort of the young, up and coming Burkina Faso as a mover and shaker um, in Africa and as a determiner of its own fate and its own free will by virtue of having its own riches used for its own purposes, its own good. These two I can mirror, and then these two I can mirror. So I'm going to say that I think Michael Langley, General Michael Langley, has been unfair in his criticism. It feels very heavy-handed, again, colonialist interference in an African affair, in the country of Burkina Faso's affairs. And it's an inappropriate intrusion. That's what I think. But you know what? Let's look. I'm going to give General Langley a chance to say his piece. So we're going to use the older man. That will stand for General Michael Langley. And let's see what he has to say about this situation. And Spirit knows we don't want the party line. We want the truth. Why did he do this? So we're looking for the older man. That will stand for General Langley. Why did he throw that hat in the ring, create that maelstrom and that bad will between the US and Burkina Faso? Why did he do that? Was it well-meaning? Was it not well-meaning? Here he is. It was the move of a bully um, seeking to shut down any effort of Burkina Faso to use this gold for their own ends. Here's Michael Langley. And it was to sort of cut off at the knees this country's ability to sort of forge its own destiny. You know, when I come to the cards for information, I'm not going to be given whatever the party line is. I'm going to be given the backstage truth of what is. And so I do think this was a colonialist bully move that was meant to destabilize President Traore and therefore loosen his grip on that gold, which is to say, loosen the grip of Burkina Faso on its own resources. Look at 47 and what he's requiring of Ukraine. That Ukraine sign over their natural resources to us as payment for the help that we've given them in their war with Russia. I mean, right? I'm not coming at this conclusion out of thin air, right? We have our own tendency to be, I'm going to call it colonialist. There are other things we can call it, but I'll just call it that. And I think that that's the place that General Langley was coming from, and I hope that he is encouraged to take a giant step back. And of course, who will be doing the encouraging? Africa. And Black Americans should have a voice in this, because what are you doing? All right. So I've answered some viewer questions, explained why I wasn't answering other viewer questions, and looked at some important questions of the day. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow I'll be writing my Substack, so do look for that weekly offering over on Substack. Please do consider subscribing. You can subscribe for a cost, or you can subscribe for free. I don't charge for my writing any more than I charge for my work here. Um, and I will see you here very soon, certainly before Sunday, but just plan to watch that Sunday conversation. I think you will find it uplifting. Uh, but I'll see you before Sunday. Please do like, share, subscribe, and it helps the channel grow. And I'll see everybody soon. Take care.